This is the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less. Ever wish you could re-listen to your favorite interview or segment? Do you enjoy hearing older shows for the first time in years? Then the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less is just what you need. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
Hello, John Solberg here, your host for the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less. And want to let you know, this episode is being brought to you by The Butcher Shop, purveyors of highly sought after 100% Australian non-crossbred WAAAAY 9 Plus briskets, and as always, they're handpicked just for you. The Butcher Shop has been retailing the finest meats for the past 15 years. Every week, they are shipping out competition quality meats to many of the biggest teams in the competition scene across the nation. Simply put, teams who use The Butcher Shop win, and they win often. So you're not a competitor, but you still have an eye for the finer cuts in life? Great news for you. The Butcher Shop is shipping some of the finest prime, dry-aged Australian Wagyu and Japanese Wagyu steaks to people just like you and me who aspire to be the kings and queens of their cul-de-sacs. The Butcher Shop always has Berkshire, Compart Duroc, Allegiance Duroc, and Prairie Fresh all-natural pork in stock, and again, always hand-picked just for you. Now you might be saying, all this sounds great, but how about some exotic stuff? Well, rest easy knowing the Butcher Shop can get you your next elk steak or camel roast. They're going to hand-pick it just for you and ship it out promptly. So let's review. The best competition briskets, check. The best pork selection, check. Giving you better overall options to cook at home, check. So be sure that you give the Butcher Shop a call today, 850-458-8782. That's 850-458-8782. Make sure that you mention the Barbecue Central show, and they're going to give you 10% off your entire order each and every time you call. You can also reach out to them on Facebook, facebook.com/The Butcher Shop. Shop is spelled S-H-O-P-P-E. The Butcher Shop, home of the 100% Australian non-crossbred WAAAAY 9 Plus briskets. And here's what's going on in today's show. We're going to take a trip back to September in 2011 and round up a little chicken backyard roundtable thing.
Rapidly becoming known as the barbecue capital of the North Coast, and if you are any type of follower of the show doing social media, you realize we're in for a special event tonight for the first hour. It is a barbecue roundtable show, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring on the panelists. Joining me specifically for the Chicken Roundtable tonight is Jeremy Sleshmen from 18th and Swine, Chad Ward from Whiskey Bent Barbecue, Shane Draper from Draper's BBQ. A couple of you guys have already been on the show before. Jeremy is a first-timer in, so before we get any prep stuff and cooking stuff and post-cook stuff, how about a little more about the panel? Jeremy, we'll start with you, a little background about yourself and how you got into the barbecue.
Sure. I began smoking with my buddy Charlie. We were just watching some football games. Decided we'd give smoking a try. We had a couple of El Cheapo Brigmans that we were using. Turned out pretty good. When we thought it was pretty good. Then we thought we'd try competing. That was probably not a good idea. We got our butts kicked in for a couple of years, and yeah, it's been since 2007. We've been lucky enough to pick up some awards now and still having fun.
So it wasn't like you were bit by the barbecue bug right off the bat because you won an event or you won like three different categories?
No. We were hard-headed. We decided to tough it out, I guess. We didn't take any classes. We decided that we were going to learn the hard way.
There you go. That's Jeremy Sleshmen joining us here. 18th and Swine. We moved to Chad Ward from Whiskey Bent Barbecue, holding it down in the South. Chad, a little bit about yourself for those that aren't familiar with you and your appearances here on the show.
Yes. Thanks, Greg, for having me on. Whiskey Bent Barbecue. We've been cooking now for about 2 years on the pro side. Had some pretty decent success, and we'll just be talking about backyard yardbird tonight. Look forward to it. Thanks again for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for making time, Chad. You can find him, by the way, whiskeybenbbq.com. And then rounding out the panel, aside from my various musings, if I decide to weigh in, and I most likely won't, is Shane Draper. Shane's been on the show as well. A little bit about yourself, Shane, and what you're into.
Hey, Greg. Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Don't ask that question. Just get right into it.
Yeah. I've been barbecuing for a few years. Kind of grew up in the barbecue business. Started this crazy Draper's Barbecue Rub and Sauce Company a couple of years ago, and been pimping sauce and doing competitions ever since, man.
That's right.
We are.
If you ain't shaking, you ain't winning.
That's right. Chad Ward, Shane Draper, and Jeremy Sleshmen joining us here on the Chicken Roundtable. All right, so we've talked about brining. We've talked about how you're trimming up your particular cuts of meat. We'll go to Chad to start with this one. Obviously, rub big in the competition scene, but big in the backyard as well. It's a big industry in general. Chad, are you rubbing the chicken? How far in advance? Are you doing multiple times? What's the deal?
I'm just rubbing once, so I'll come out of the brine, running under some, nice cool water to get, all the brine off, and then I'll let it sit and air dry for 10, 15 minutes, and then I'll go through with a generous application of 3 Eyes barbecue rub. And the reason I like 3 Eyes on chicken is chicken's pretty delicate. You can get too hot real quick, and 3 Eyes is just that nice general all-purpose rub that still gets a lot of good flavor on the meat, but you're not going to offend anybody. And on chicken, it just provides you with an excellent color. So that's kind of how we approach it.
All right, how about you, Shane?
Usually we'll cook our chicken over we nearly grill our chicken if we're doing thighs in this instance. So I will wait until the chicken starts sweating a little bit before I put my first application of real heavy rub on. I mean, I may dust it light with something that has no sugar in it, but our real application of rubs comes after it starts sweating a little bit. What
do you mean by sweating? Go ahead. Are you making it run on a treadmill? Or are you making it jump rope?
Yeah, it does cartwheels for about a half hour, little calisthenics. No, once the chicken gets, or dripping, as some people would term it, once it gets good and hot and that fat starts rendering, you'll see it bead sweat a little bit, and the rub just adheres and sucks right in.
So you're not even technically rubbing the chicken until it's on the cooker per se.
Right, because we're cooking it pretty hot.
Gotcha.
At like 350.
That's absolutely an idea I've never even heard of before. But sounds like a great idea to me. Jeremy, how soon in advance are you rubbing? And I'm sorry, Shane, I would imagine you're using your own rub on that?
Oh, I'm a rub and sauce whore to coin a term. I mean, I love trying all different things. I will cut my rub with other people's stuff and try it. Just before the show started, I asked what everyone's favorite chicken rub is, because I'm doing a competition where the whole chicken is the turn-in. And I just want to do something different than my own, because everyone expects me to use my own rub. So I just like throw a curveball in there once in a while.
All right, Jeremy, how far in advance are you rubbing, and is it multiple times? Are you doing it on the grill before you do anything like Shane was doing? How do you go about doing the rub process?
I never heard anything like that from Shane. That's something I'll have to try. Usually what I'll do is I'll fire up the smoker about 30 minutes before I'm ready to throw it on with the rub.
All right. Now, you promised you were going to give up a rub just like you gave up that brine recipe. So if you're so inclined, please share with us.
Sure. This rub, it's taken me about 5 years to get onto.
Oh, my Lord.
It's a very balanced rub. It hits all the senses of taste, the sweet, salt, sour, bitter, and even the umami.
Oh.
It is half a cup of...
Do you want to know? Half cup of... Head on over to the bbqcentralshow.com. Link in today's show notes will take you to this complete episode. And I'm here to tell you, there's a couple recipes in here that are fantastic. A lot of great techniques. It's definitely worth a listen. So go check that out. I appreciate you all very much. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to get a hold of me, please send me an email, John at the bbqcentralshow.com. And until next time on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less, I am your host, John Solberg. I definitely look forward to talking to you again soon.